Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies or cookie bars or squares, whatever you prefer to call them. I actually got the recipe from somebody at church and she called them German cookies. So I'm not really sure of its origin and that type of thing, but they are an easy recipe. They are a great tasting cookie square or bar, whatever you prefer to call it. So let's get started. First, you're going to start off with 4 eggs. I've had them at room temperature, and you do want to beat them well. Now, you can certainly do this recipe with your hand mixer. I like the stand due to the video. That makes it a lot quicker for me, okay? So I'm going to turn my mixer on, so I want to warn you of the sound. Want to beat those for a minute or so till they're quite looking light and fluffy and pale yellow, but I'm going to move it along because of the video. The next thing that I'm going to beat in with the eggs is brown sugar. Okay, you're going to need 1 pound of brown sugar. I actually weighed mine on a scale, okay, so that I knew that I had exactly a pound. So I'm going to start putting in that pound of brown sugar to the eggs. Now I know somebody might write and say, well, how many cups is it? Well, you know what? It's not really exact. That's why I like to use the scale. But it probably is, you know, maybe around 2 cups, 2 1/4, shy of that. It's not exact, so please don't hold me to that because, as I said, I weighed it on the scale. All right, now getting the dry ingredients together, you will need 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. You'll need just a pinch of salt to that flour. You're going to be putting in a teaspoon of cinnamon. So especially if you like more of a spice cookie, I think you're really going to like this cookie bar. You're also going to be putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. Now, if you don't like cloves, leave them out. What I've done is I sometimes actually just put additional cinnamon in it, or just leave it out if you don't like the cloves. The next thing we're going to be putting in is a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. So it has such fragrant spices in this cookie. It just smells delicious when they're baking in the oven. Okay, so now I'm just going to just stir it a little bit and then start adding it to the wet mixture. Doesn't take a long time to blend that. Of course, I would definitely blend it a little longer, you know, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take the excess off my paddle. Now, this particular cookie dough is quite sticky. Okay, it's more of a wet, heavy-based cookie. I'm just going to take my spatula just to get to the bottom a little bit better and clean up the sides of my bowl here. I'm going to show you what the consistency looks like on this batter, and I hope you can see it. It is a heavy and it is a sticky batter. Now, you will need a about a cup of chopped nuts. It's up to you what you want to put in. I'm using almonds, but you can use walnuts, whatever, you know, whatever you want, whatever you have. You can put them in. If you want a cookie, of course, this cookie bar that you don't want nuts, well, leave it out, okay? So I'm gonna put that in there now. All right. Now what I do is I reserve a little bit of the nuts to this, and I'm just going to work this in with my hand instead of, with my spatula by hand instead of using my my beater on my mixer, okay, to get work those nuts in, okay? And we'll show you so far what that looks like. What I do is I reserve a little bit of the almonds and I grind them in a very small, as you can see. You don't have to do this, it's optional. And I like to sprinkle the top of them, which I'll show you in a second. Now, I do bake them in a 13 by 9. I did heavily grease it. You decide however you want to do that, or use your parchment or whatever. And then just start putting your mixture here, your cookie bar mixture in your pan. And this is going to take you a little bit of patience, you know, to spread it out, because like I mentioned, you know, it is a bit sticky in consistency. Okay, so first I'm just going to take it all out, and then I'm going to use a knife to spread it down into my pan, because I think that's a bit easier than using my spatula. And then I'm just going to try to make sure to even it out as best as I can, you know, getting into the sides of this 13 by 9. This 13 by 9 pan is also by 2 inches, so in case someone has a question about that. Let me get the rest of this all out. We don't want to waste any. So I think this is the most difficult part of making this recipe, is just doing this. But other than that, my gosh, it's so quick and so easy. Now these cookie bars, to describe them, I would say they're more of like a spice bar, because of all the nice spices that are in it. My friend really didn't elaborate on the cookie too much of how she started making them in her family, so I don't really have a lot of background on them. Okay, now you can just go ahead and bake them like this. Okay, I want to get that out of the way. Or you can just put them in the oven. Now they're going to go at 375, and they can take up to 15 to 20 minutes, okay? What I generally do is I just take the nuts and I sprinkle them on top, just a little bit, not a lot. Now you don't have to do this, just put all your nuts in the mixture, okay? Now, once you bake it at 375, and as I mentioned, I'll repeat it, 15 to 20 minutes, let it sit on a cooling rack for a few minutes, and then you'll want to make a powdered sugar glaze. Now, you can use water, you can use milk, it's up to you, and it's up to you on the consistency. How thin you want it, how thick you want it, okay? The gal that I got the recipe for, it was right in between. She said she sometimes puts it on, it's thick, and sometimes it's more thin. So it's going to be up to you. As far as measurements go, just start off with a cup of powdered sugar and start adding your milk or your water to the consistency of what you feel is thin, or whatever that you want, okay? And I put that over, like I said, once it comes out of the oven after about, 5 minutes, a little less than 5 minutes, I put the icing after it's baked, okay? So let me rinse my hands quickly because I would like to show you what they look like once they're baked up. But I don't want to touch them, being I've worked with raw eggs. And this is how they'll turn out. They really bake up quite nice and tall, okay, as you can see. Again, you can see the crushed nuts that are on the top. Leave them out if you don't like the looks of that, okay? And let's see, I want to cut one open just to show you what they look like inside. They do make for a, well, like a moist, chewy cookie. I'm just going to kind of press on it a little bit to show you. I hope you can see that. Okay. So they're, they're medium in density. They're not a real dry cookie. They do have weight to them. I will tell you that. They do have weight, but they're very chewy and very moist. And I don't know if you could see me actually pull that cookie bar across, but you can see how nicely it pulls away, that it's chewy. I hope that you can see that, okay? So it gives you a little idea, unless you've made these cookies before and you're familiar with them, but for me, it was the first time, and I am going to make them again because I thought they were delightful. And as I mentioned, just the baking process, how your kitchen smells so great with all these great spices. I will not have the ingredients below the video. Again, I'm sorry, but so many people are taking my videos and taking them to other sites. It's quite frustrating, and it's just not worth it anymore. I really resent when they do take them to other sites is when you write to me, because I always ask you if you've tried the recipe, if you liked it, well, leave a comment because I like to hear from you. But if you're watching me on other sites, I don't get any of your comments, any of your questions, and it's been so frustrating. So please watch me solely on YouTube. That's the only place I put my videos on. If you're so inclined, ring the bell or give me a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you even want to subscribe, that's even better. I thank you so much for watching Diane Lovetobake, and remember, only on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you soon.